What do we do when we have a spot, a whitehead or a pustule on the skin, especially if we want to go out? We've all been there, we've all had one. They feel absolutely enormous and they are super, super painful to touch. Well, this is a perfectly timed video because I've got a super, super painful spot right in the middle of my face. So, what are the options? Would you A, pick it, B, squeeze it, or C, cover it up in loads of heavy makeup? Typically, when a spot is felt under the skin surface, threatening to erupt for days on end, the urge is to squeeze it. And when do you normally stop squeezing? We usually stop squeezing when we start to see that blood. The idea is if we squeeze and get rid of all of that rubbish and we get that bleed, it must mean that we've cleared up that infection. However, we're not going to get rid of all of that infection under the skin until the skin has managed to push it out all on its own. The problem is when you squeeze, what it does, it actually pushes all of that infection, so all that bacteria, all that pus, it pushes it all back deeper into the skin. So all we're really doing when we squeeze until you get that bleed is to create more trauma, more swelling, more inflammation, because what we're doing is we're bursting the lining of the pore, or worse, we're bursting the lining of the sebaceous gland. Now the sebaceous gland is what contains all of that bacteria, all of that pus. So when you squeeze the spot, all you're doing is you're spreading it all over the face. And then this can spread down another open pore and ultimately create more spots, which is the worst thing that can happen. This excessive squeezing, poking and scratching can result in a lot of trauma. And this can lead to scabbing, to scarring, to discoloration or pigmentation. Now, I must admit that I have done all of the above. I have suffered all of the consequences. I've had the increased swelling, increased inflammation, spread of that spot, marks on my skin, scarring which seems to just last forever. However, there is a secret option I've not already mentioned. Are you ready for it? Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't pick it. Don't squeeze it. Don't cake loads of makeup over it, which will prevent that skin from breathing. As unsightly as a spot appears now, it's temporary. However, the scarring which occurs when popping isn't executed properly, it's a long-term problem, which is so much harder to treat. Infecting spots, causing that discoloration, are other unfortunate byproducts of squeezing. And the effects of discoloration can take a really, really long time to fade. I've been there, I know. And the infected skin will also be so much more difficult to treat than a normal spot. So resist that urge to take matters into your own hands and pop those pimples, no matter how tempting or how desperate you are. Instead, you can adopt a skin routine which will really help to reduce the risk of them appearing in the first place. Or if you do happen to have a really big one creep up on you, seek professional treatment and they will soon fade without leaving any marks, any scarring, or in any infection in their wake. Share this with your friends who would find this video useful, and I will see you all so soon. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in.